Hello, I'm here in the queue today and I'm here to interview Pamela Cherry, who, as you very well know, I'm sure, is the author of the bestseller novel Repossession. As you can see, it's displayed here behind me on her bookcase. She's allowed me to come to her upper room where she does all of her work, and this is her book. And it's been out now for a couple of months and it's doing very, very well. So I better put that back now so that it's in its right position. So Pamela is going to be here in just a minute and I'm going to ask her a few questions that we'd all love to know the answer to. Okay, so we'll just have a wait now for a minute till she comes. She was finishing a cup of tea. Well, hello Julia. Hello Pamela. How are you doing now? I am delighted to meet you and it's wonderful to see you looking so well. How are you? Thank you so much for coming over to see me and to carry out this little interview. It's very good of you and I do appreciate it. So how have you been? Are you keeping well, I hope? Yes? Yeah, only for this darn weather. It's so cold, but it's good in a way because it gives us time to stay indoors and maybe do a little bit of writing. If the weather was good, I'd want to be out in the garden and busy out there. Ah, really? Yes, well, I'm sure you're very busy. So we better get on with this little interview. So maybe you just give us a quick introduction to your the book that you've written, Repossession, and everybody is very interested to know how you came to writing this book, and have you always wanted to write a book like this? A little introduction to the book. Well, it's called Repossession and it's about a couple, Mervyn and Stephanie, and Mervyn's daughter, who live high on the Hock at Dublin. Would you believe it? Incredible! And they suddenly hit hard times, to cut to the quick. Stephanie loves spending money and she's off doing all sorts and doing the house up and the garden and just spending money like it's water out of a tap. They suddenly hit hard times when the banks crash and they in the end take off for Phoenix in Arizona, and whilst there they overtake and take over their friend's house, Doris, and then the next thing that happens is affairs, kidnappings. Well, and then they come back and you have to read the book to see what happens, really. But it is quite interesting. And Pamela, do you have a specific writing style? How do you go about writing a book? Because it's a big project to take on. Pamela, how did you come to write this book? Where did you get the idea from? Well, the book came about funnily enough, Robert and I went to stay with a friend in Phoenix, and she lived on her own, and because we wanted to help her out, we ended up doing a lot while we were there and looking after her and cooking and taking her shopping and going outside seeing. We were only there for a week or so. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. But we were concerned that having lived on her own, that she might feel we were sort of taking over. And Robert said, hey, wouldn't that make a good title, and a good, not a good title, but that would make a good story, and in fact a good movie. Oh. And so we started thinking about it and enlarging on it, and then I sat down and did the job. And the title, Repossession, well, we thought that was sort of very appropriate for the time and for what happens in the book, because everything is repossessed. Men, husbands, wives, daughters, they all in the end get repossessed in one way or the other. And another thing we were wondering, I'm sure, is how much of this book has got any of your own experiences in it, or is it all make-believe? How much of the book is realistic and how much are based on personal experiences? Well, there's quite a few things in the book. Unfortunately, the thing that happens to them at the end did not happen to me or Robert, and we still live in hope. But quite a few things in the book have happened to me personally, particularly the mafia story. That was very, very scary. That happened to me in Canada in the 70s. And that was probably the time I was the most frightened ever. Yes. And have you ever written another book, Pamela? Have you always been interested in writing, or did you just one day decide, I think I'll write a book? Well, my writing originated at school, I suppose. When we were given a composition to write a page or 2 pages, mine usually went into 10 or 12, to the chagrin of the teacher, because my spelling and grammar wasn't as good as my imagination. And from then it carried on, and of course during the interim years I've had to concentrate on making a living and earning some money, but not that I don't have to do that now, but I do have, now that I don't have a day job, I can sit and let my imagination run wild and put it all down on paper. And is there anything that you find difficult about writing, Pamela? Do you find at all that it's difficult to actually sit down or you know, when you talk to artists, sometimes they say the first stroke on the paper or the palette or whatever is the most difficult, you know, to blemish that copy. So how do you go about writing your book? Now, your cover of your book here is very interesting. It's showing a toilet and everything is swirling around and going down the pan, which of course is indicative of what happens to poor Stephanie and Mervyn and their life. But who designed that cover for you? Because it's very good reflection of the book itself, isn't it? Do you think so? Yes, yeah, very interesting. Oh, really? Robert came up with the idea. Sure, he's a great man, isn't he? Isn't he just great? Great imagination. Yes. And is there going to be another book to follow Repossession? Well, currently I'm writing the follow-up story to Repossession, and it is called Deja Vu. And my brain is exploding with things that are going to happen. Oh, Deja Vu, that sounds very interesting. Oh my goodness. So I'm coming to the end of this interview now, Pamela, and I'm just going to wrap things up. Have you got anything that you'd like to say to your readers and all the people who have read or are going to read your wonderful book, Repossession? And really hope that people who read it enjoy what they're reading. I've taken up enough of your time now, Pamela, and I'd like to thank you very much. You've been very kind to give me the time and to let me come up to your special little room where you do all of your writing and keep all of your memorabilia. I see you've got a lot of stuff from through the years, and so I'll say goodbye now and thank you very much, and I wish you every success for the next book, for Repossession, of course, to continue on. There's no due date on that book, so it can be enjoyed for many years, and the best of luck with Deja Vu, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of writing and books from you in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pamela Cherry, who has written the novel Repossession, and watch out for Deja Vu coming up later in the year. Bye for now, and thanks for tuning in.